Am I the asshole for not taking my sister's parrot, which I promised to take care of at 9? So here's the backstory. When I was just a 9-year-old and my sis Jane was 16, she got this African grey parrot, Pepper. Using her job money, she totally loved this bird. One day, she made me swear that if anything ever happened to her, I'd look after Pepper. Me, being a goofy kid, I was like, sure, why not? Fast forward 20 years later. Jane is totally fine, but she's got this killer job offer overseas. She has to move into company housing where pets aren't allowed. Now she's saying I have to stick to my promise and take care of Pepper. But here's the deal. I'm in no shape to care for a bird. I've got a small apartment with no outdoor space. I'm super busy with my job. Plus, Pepper isn't the easiest bird. He really only likes Jane and can get all cranky without her. To top it off, these birds can live for like 60 years. Pepper's only halfway there. And, if you didn't know, these things are loud. Despite this, Jane's all like you promised and even brought our parents into it. They think I should somehow work it out because Jane's got this big opportunity and, in their words, your word is your bond. I feel like I'm losing my mind here. I was 9, yeah. I did make that promise. But come on. I had no clue what I was saying yes to. Now, my family's acting like I'm some kind of villain. So, Reddit, hit me with it. Am I the asshole for not wanting to take care of Pepper, the parrot I promised to look after when I was all of 9 years old? Not the asshole. When Jane adopted it, she promised to look after it for life. And here she is, a couple of decades later, trying to pawn it off on someone else for her own convenience. Tell Jane that nothing has happened to her. The bird just became inconvenient. So her 9-year-old promise doesn't apply. Jane is still alive and well. If she dies, I'm sure the OP will be happy to reconsider. Until then, the bird remains Jane's responsibility. The real assholes here are your parents who allowed your sister to buy a high-maintenance pet that lives for 60-80 years. How stupid are they? You're not the asshole. Not the asshole. At 9 years of age I made a promise to love the pretty girl in my 4th grade class forever. Not the asshole. A 9-year-old can't make this kind of promise. It's crazy to expect him to follow through. Especially 20 years later. Also, it's not even technically correct since nothing happened to your sister. She just wants to step back from her own commitment which she made when 16 years old, and that included getting a pet that lives 60 years. Who does that? Yet somehow your commitment as a 9-year-old kid who made a stupid promise must be kept. She made me swear that if anything ever happened to her, I'd look after Pepper. As I can see, she did not die or become completely disabled. So nothing actually happened to her. She just wants to get rid of her bird for whatever reason. So, being honest, she is and needs to rehome her pet to a good home willing to take it. You don't. So Pepper wouldn't be happy with you anyway. But anything hasn't happened to her. She's alive and well and perfectly capable of making appropriate fostering arrangements on her own. Remind her that the conditions were if anything happened to her, so you will take in Pepper if she's hospitalized or dies. That's what you promised to do. You didn't agree to play foster parent at her convenience. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You were 9. The only R's are your parents for getting a 16-year-old a bird. Not the asshole. There are rescue orgs that can help with rehoming parrots. You are absolutely right. You cannot take care of a parrot right now or maybe ever. And that's not a reflection on you. They are like owning screaming toddlers that can tear your house down if you turn your back for 5 minutes. And that's putting it extremely mildly. Toddlers that stay toddlers, as you say, for up to 60 years. Your sister needs to make other arrangements or not take the job. Not the asshole. First, you were 9 second. Getting a job offer does not equate to something happening to her. She's making a choice to change her life circumstances. So she needs to make a choice in how to care for her bird. It would be different if she were not capable of making decisions or providing care. My mother had one of these parrots. When she moved abroad, she left it with my grandmother. The poor bird died of sorrow and my mother never forgave herself. Not the asshole sister manipulated you, making you swear at age 9. In the US, one must be 18 to enter a contract. You family is really piling on a guilt trip. She is 7 years older than you and needs to figure out care for Pepper. Walk away from this request guilt-free. Your parents are the root cause for this outcome. Who allows a 16-year-old to own a parrot when in 2 years their life will change drastically? Join the military. Move for a job. Attend college in a different country. Not the asshole. I suggest that you stick to your word. You promised to take the parrot if anything happened to your sister. I would take in my brother's kids if he died in a car crash. But not if he decided to dump him to go abroad. One is a tragedy. The other a choice. Lay this out for your family. Not the asshole. A promise from so long ago as a 9-year-old. That can't be expected to be held true. Not the asshole. You aren't of age at 9 to enter a binding contract agreement. Not the asshole. Why would she want you to take care of it when you actually can't and aren't able to at this time? Wouldn't a responsible bird owner want the bird taken care of by someone who could actually do it? Parents think it's okay because they don't want the bird in their house. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And even so, your promise isn't valid. Nothing happened to her. She is in good health to be able to take care of this parrot. She is choosing not to by taking the job offer overseas, and while I don't blame her for doing so, that is a choice she made, with this being a consequence of it. Not the asshole. Your sister is. She bought the bird. A new job offer is not enough of a reason to not fulfill the contract with the bird ownership. Either your parents take it or it gets rehomed. Would your parents be able to take care of the bird? In any case, not the asshole. It's not even that you don't want to. You genuinely wouldn't be able to care for it appropriately. Tell your whole stupid family that minors cannot make a contract. Why don't your parents take Pepper? Not the asshole. I have an ag myself. And you absolutely are not the asshole for knowing your limitations. Not the asshole. A bird is not a thing to be passed around. African greys are very intelligent and need a rich environment to challenge them. And they need society. There are parrot rescues that would take him in. I think. Your sister and your parents are loony if they think a 9-year-old's casual yes is a contract. Good. 20 years later. Do the best for the bird. Find him a loving home. Not the asshole. Even if you made that promise last week about some hypothetical future situation. But it's especially absurd because you made it when you were 9. Taking in a pet or child is a commitment you should only make when you are fully willing, ready and able to care for it properly. You aren't. That's all your sister should need to know before pursuing responsible rehoming through other means.